So you're looking to make the move from out of state to Auburn, Alabama. Welcome. This is your 6-step relocation guide to moving to Auburn, Alabama. Auburn, Alabama area. I want you to make sure to go ahead. Hey everyone, this is Alex Acuff with eXp Realty Acuff Weekly Group here in Auburn, Alabama. If this is your first time to our channel, welcome number one, as well as make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification. That way you don't miss another video. Also make sure to leave us a comment down below as well as a thumbs up. That just helps us with the next person that is watching this video right behind you. And speaking of you, people are reaching out to us every single day just like you, who are looking to make the move to Auburn, Alabama. So if you're looking to relocate and you need an agency or an agent, we would love to be the team that you choose to help you make that transition to Auburn, Alabama. So go ahead and reach out to us. We'd love to schedule a Zoom call, get to know you, your needs and your wants, and figure out exactly where you need to be living in Auburn, Alabama. First, let's get into the research phase and talk a little bit about the transition from out of state to Auburn, Alabama. Now, if you have a home to sell, it's gonna be very important at this point that you either A, hire an agent, or B, at least get a home value on your property. If you wanna know more about the value of your home, just go to acuffweeklygroup.com and we will get you a home value in seconds. It doesn't matter whether you live in Auburn, Alabama, or in Hawaii or Alaska, we will get you a home value. Now, if you don't have an agent, we'd love to connect you with an agent. It's good to understand this. So let me get into why you need to understand your home value. When making the transition to Auburn, it's very important that you know exactly how much money you have to make the transition to Auburn, Alabama, that you're going to be investing in that next home. So by knowing the home value, we can then make an estimate of what your net is going to be after you sell your property and how much you're either going to A, put into that home, or B, you are going to allocate to put in that home and either pay off credit cards or do whatever you need to do with the additional funds. Next, we need to understand the neighborhood that you want to be in. So that comes down to price point. It comes down to bedrooms, bathrooms, how you want to live in the property, whether you need sidewalks, do you need an HOA, do you need a neighborhood pool? Those are going to come in an HOA. Or do you want a private pool? Do you need privacy, larger acreage? All these little things will help us when we dive into understanding what you need in your next home here in Auburn. It could be based on your commute to work. So if, let's just say you work at Auburn University, you could really live anywhere in Auburn. We talk about commute in our pros and cons video, and the commutes are really only about 15, 20 minutes at max here in Auburn. Now, if you are working somewhere like Montgomery or out of the city or maybe in Georgia, then you may want to live on the outskirts of town or closer to one of the major highways. So we have two major highways that go through the Auburn Opelika area, and living near either one is going to get you close enough to wherever you're going if you're traveling out of the city. The third part of the research phase is going to be your finances. We need to understand your moving costs. So are there any repairs that you need to do on your home? Do you need to hire a cleaning service, or can you clean it yourself? And do you need to go ahead and do a home inspection on your home? If your home has a lot of deferred maintenance, I will recommend for you and potentially for the agent we recommend to you to go ahead and do a home inspection on your property. That way you understand all that you may need to budget on the back end when it comes to repairs. We really like to plan this where there's no surprises. So as we go through this relocation guide, you'll see that I take away a lot of the surprises when it comes from transitioning from out of state to Auburn, Alabama. Now, when it comes to finances, we want to make sure that we're comparing our costs of living. Now, if you're moving from New York, you're going to save about 50% on your cost of living, LA about 40%, Atlanta about 20%. I cover this actually in our pros and cons video as well, but you can look up cost of living index online and that will show you exactly, you can compare where you're coming from, maybe it's Denver, Colorado to Auburn, Alabama, and see what the market dynamics and the changes are, because you'd be surprised. You can get a lot more bang for your buck here than most parts of the country. You also want to understand the property taxes as well. Our property taxes are pretty darn low here in Auburn. When you're estimating from either New York or California, you'll realize that we have pretty low property taxes. Now, let's just say you're transitioning a student. You may need to check some of the pricing when it comes to private school and what it takes to get into the private schools, as well as what it takes to make sure that your kid is registered for the school year going into the fall here in Auburn City Schools. So reach out to us. We can walk through, we've got larger private schools like Lee Scott Academy, Trinity, Auburn Classical Academy, and we can help you with pricing those things out, figuring out which neighborhood actually might be a better fit than others when it comes to your commute to the school. A lot of people like to live where the school is on the way to work. So we like to kind of reverse engineer all your needs and then find the perfect neighborhood and the price point that's going to fit your needs. Now, local regulations you need to know about when doing your research. If you are looking to purchase a home and you're used to short-term renting like a bedroom or your house out for the weekends, because we do have major game days here, especially in the fall, you need to be checking what we call our short-term rental zoning map. You can just literally type that in, short-term rental map, Auburn, Alabama on Google, and that will pull exactly the website, or just reach out to me. We can walk through what we call the permitted zones and non-permitted homestay zones. So that will tell you whether you can short-term rent your home. That's just one simple example of local regulations. As well as if you have an RV, reach out to us. We want to talk about that because it could not be allowed within the HOA to actually park that vehicle at your property where it can be seen. So those are some of the little things we need to know more about your move and making sure that we're targeting the perfect neighborhoods for you. Last in the research phase, we want to be looking at our healthcare and where are our providers. You need to be researching if you need specific needs, who those doctors are and where their offices are located, especially if you need to be there pretty quick and quite often. So it's something to really dig into. Also updating your providers on addresses as well. Super big on this because you don't want to miss any bills or anything that gets sent to you personally. You want to make sure you've planned that for the home that you're going to be living here in Auburn, Alabama. And then you want to make sure you're transferring any medical records to those new providers for sure. Great, we've done our research. Now we're 6 weeks out and we're jumping right into the planning phase. So if you didn't already, at 6 weeks out, you absolutely need to be hiring an agent at this point. And if you're a bit of a procrastinator, you should have done this in the research phase about 8 weeks out to help you make the transition. The reason why is because I think it's always good for everyone to have just a little bit more accountability when it comes to transitioning from out of state to Auburn, Alabama, just because the timing could get a little wacky near the end. And the last thing you want to be is the delay in the transaction. I'm telling you, it is not fun to be the ugly duckling of a transaction and you've created this domino effect because you procrastinated it and didn't plan properly for the closing and you've delayed everybody. So definitely don't want to be that person. And of course, if you don't have an agent, we can absolutely refer you to a great agent in your area. We've got an amazing network of agents within eXp Realty, as well as in a bigger mastermind that our team's a part of. And so we've got some phenomenal agents, top agents across the country. So no matter where you're relocating from, I can guarantee you that I can find you a great agent in your area. Next in this planning phase, we want to talk about closing dates. So at this point, you're 30 to 60 days out. It's important to start planning that close date. And when we say planning the close date, we're talking about planning all of your timeline as far as your movers, understanding who's going to move it. Are you going to move it or are you going to hire professional movers? And are you going to be recruiting your friends to help you with that? Also, if you're buying new construction, understand that you really don't set the close date, unfortunately. Typically, the builder does, and that could be anywhere from 30 days to get this 18 months. So depending on what type of home that you're looking to purchase, if you want to do a full custom build and you want to take your time and plan out each part of the home and do all of your selections and you're a little bit slow in that process, it's going to take a longer timeline. These bigger custom homes do take some time. But if you're looking for a move-in ready new construction home, which is more of what we're dealing with in today's market, reach out to us. We'd love to help you figure out that transition, because when you're searching online, it can be tough finding the perfect new home. The reason why is because there's a lot of proposed plans online that you see. They haven't even broken ground yet. So you need to understand which ones are actually there and not there. So when it comes to kind of that semi-custom home, if you're looking at Stone Martin or Holland homes, those homes can typically close anywhere from 30 days to about 160 days out, depending on your needs and your timeline. But if you're within that 30 to 60 day range, we're probably looking for something that's already pretty much ready to go. Very minor move-in, some blue tape walkthrough, final walkthroughs, orientations, and then we close and get you in the new house. Now let's talk about your moving plans and deciding whether you want to hire professional movers or hire your friends. Now, if you're hiring movers, they do get booked up quite a bit during the summertime. So you may want to go ahead and reach out to them. We're at the 6-week mark. This is kind of that sweet spot of reaching out to them and start getting pricing. So letting them know the square footage or how many bedrooms that you'll be moving so you can get an estimate of those numbers and then an hourly estimate of how much the work will be if it's over the allotted time that they quoted you. So understanding those and budgeting properly. Now, if you're hiring friends, they typically come a little bit cheaper. You just typically bribe them with, beer and pizza and a good time, right? So everyone sweats, everyone has a good time. You invite them to your welcome party at your house and everyone's happy, but I'll tell you what, they probably won't do it again. So you only get limited amount of moves. I've moved a bunch in my time. So I know my friends, I'm to the point now where I just hire professional movers every time. So, and here's a tidbit. If you are moving locally and watching this relocation guide, reach out to me. We have discounts with local moving companies to help you save a little bit on your budget. And on that budget, just make sure you're budgeting for any unforeseen circumstances like a flat tire or the movers are delayed or something happened with a low appraisal on your property causing you to push your close dates a little bit further. So making sure that you've budgeted for some unknowns throughout the process. And if you have kids, make sure you're looking into school transfers and getting them on their right timeline when it comes to transitioning to the new school. So that could be transferring academic records. It could be getting in touch with the enrollment office and talking through all the little facets, or maybe you've got to go meet with the school, planning your trip here to Auburn, Alabama to meet with the schools and interview with them as well. So you want to make sure you're just planning out all those little transfers that come with moving schools. Now, we're 6 weeks out and insurance, you need to be reaching out to them if you haven't already, talking about your addresses. Now, your home and auto insurance, you should be updating your address, letting them know when your expected close date is, what that address is, so they can plan properly. That way, when you make the transition here, because a lot of things get lost in the move. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to moving, right? So some of the small things, mail is one of the biggest things we see the biggest headache with. So getting ahead of it in this planning phase is huge. Okay, we're 4 weeks out. We're moving right into the preparation phase. In the preparation phase, number one, you need to start purging stuff. You need to start selling stuff if you need to, or giving it away, donating it, and taking maybe a small tax write-off on those items that you donated. But purging is huge here. It's going to save you a lot of money on your moving budget as well. I will tell you, I've moved so many times, and I cannot tell you, there's always like a couple boxes that were left over from college. It had like college shirts or something that I never wore or used anymore. And those boxes went from one house to the next, and they never got unpacked. And I realized, why am I still moving those? It'd probably be a good idea to probably purge those items and get them out of the way and save a little bit of money, because at the end of the day, I looked at the cost of it. I was like, I wonder how much those boxes cost me to move, because I don't even get the joy out of them anymore. So if you've lost that joy in some of your items, just purge them, get rid of them, and save the money. Trust me, you will be so much happier in the end. Now, in this prep phase, you need to be packing up your stuff, and let's talk about our strategy for packing here. We want to pack our seasonal stuff. So if you have stuff that's winter and it's summertime and you're moving, go ahead and pack up the wintertime. That's the easy stuff to get out of the way when you're this like 30-day window out, because a lot of times if you're like me, I like to wait till last minute to pack. And what I learned is that if I just separated my closet or my drawers from winter to summer, I found that I could pack up half of my stuff and have it out of the way. And speaking of out of the way, is pick a room, maybe your garage or a bedroom, and get those boxes packed, filled, and in there. Get them out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. It's also going to help you with the cleaning phase, because it's going to help you clean as you go. And please avoid last minute packing. You do not want to do this. Trust me. I had a friend that always last minute pack. He'd take a trash bag and throw it over all of his clothes on hangers and just throw them in his car and move them from house to house. And he never was organized, never cleaned up. And so it was always last minute. Here's my last tip about packing is to pack a go bag. Now you're gonna be moving, maybe you're in a moving truck, moving across country. You need to pack a go bag that has your toiletries in it. It has, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your body wash, your shampoo, extra toilet paper, paper towels in your car. Get a trash bag, jumper cables. Have a go bag. You need to make sure you're packing for any of the unknowns. And also, I will say, the one thing that I usually forget on my go bag is the last thing. I'm like, oh, I'll grab my pillow. Well, I would always end up packing all my pillows and everything. So I will tell you, get a travel pillow that you do like and throw that in your go bag. Next, we want to update our memberships and utilities. Memberships can crush you in those monthly fees every single year. You see those junk fees that hit your account and you go, man, I should have canceled that when I moved. So thinking about maybe if you go to a private gym or a bigger gym, make sure you're transferring those memberships to your new location or any other membership fees. Maybe it's a country club, golf, whatever you're doing, make sure you're transferring those membership fees. Then you want to notify your utility providers that you are moving. Very important here. I know you're planning for that close date. We are at that 4-week period. Now, you could do this at 4 weeks or really 2 weeks. That's about the cutoff time I would suggest on this, is notifying your utility providers of that you're either canceling the service or transferring it to a new address. Now, I will say this helps really big at this point. And the reason why I say at the last 2 weeks out is because if you're selling your home from out of state, someone else is planning to buy your home, right? So they're going to be looking for almost the same utilities that you probably provided them during when you listed your home. So you want to make sure you've already set that in motion with the utility providers. That way, when they're contacted by the new person, they say, oh, yep, we see where they're moving. We will transfer it on your close date. And of course, you want to start your utilities on your new house right after closing. Sometimes you'll get a seller who will complimentary hold that utility in their name for the weekend to give you time to move in. But I will tell you, I would bank on yourself and just go ahead and schedule your utilities to start the day of closing or the day after closing. Right there is just totally fine. Vehicle registration, making sure you are registering your vehicle in the new state as well. That could mean you need to get a new driver's license. Simply put, here in Auburn, you can just run right behind the mall and you can get a new ID, as well as you can do everything in one here. So you can go to the annex office, you can get a new ID, a new driver's license, and register your homestead. So I do suggest doing all of that at once. Now, we cannot forget about our pets in this phase. We want to make sure that we're planning our pets' transition as well. Now, we love our little companions and we want to make sure it's an easy transfer for them because you can stress them out. We've got Willowwood dog farm here that you could put your dogs at if you have larger dogs that like to play outside. There's other ones as well if you need a place. Just reach out to me. We can kind of talk through some of the different places where you can put your pets while you're making that transition. Also, if you have any membership fees for cleaning your dogs, like a cleaning service that comes to your house and washes your dog and cuts and clips them, that you need to make sure you've canceled that service, reach out to me. We've got a couple of those locally. We can help you figure out which one's going to be the best fit for you and your animals. Okay, we're 2 weeks out. We are at the administration phase. First, we're going to talk about billing addresses. At this 2-week phase, you need to be reaching out to your credit card companies and any other providers that bill you. Maybe it's an investment property and that mortgage has been coming to you in the mail. You need to make sure you've updated all those addresses, maybe on your LLCs or where if you have any companies in your personal name that go to your home address, making sure you're updating those addresses to your new one. You also want to be selling your furniture if you have to. Now, if you're moving to Auburn, we've got some great local furniture stores, but if you have some stuff that's just sitting around, you can't fit it on the moving truck, you don't really use it, I would go ahead and sell your furniture now because you're 2 weeks out. If you are working with professional movers, make sure you're reaching back out to them in this phase, that you're planning your movers and planning them most likely, if they're delivering your stuff, have them deliver the day after closing. So I will tell you, when moving to a new home, it can be very hectic with movers. So at this phase, my pro tip to you is actually to get your movers to come the day after closing, because there's a lot going on that day of closing. It could be delayed just strictly due to the wire transfer of funds. So you just don't know about the unknowns of the close date, as well as those utility providers. This is the worst. For example, I've closed so many homes and they've planned for the utility providers to come the day of closing, and the closing gets delayed. The utility provider says they missed their appointment, they didn't come back, and so they ended up going through the weekend without any internet or even power in some cases, or even water in another case. And so just avoid that by scheduling all this stuff to happen the day after closing, especially your movers, because it is a little crazy and you want to be prepared for them, right? So you want to go in the house, plan out your spaces, and say, okay, when they get here, this is going to be our plan of action when they start unloading the truck. In this admin phase, make sure you're talking to the admin at your company. I will tell you, request some days off here. That's kind of a little bit of a pro tip. It's always crazy if you're having to work in the middle of closing a house and your transition for your movers. So I will suggest you need to be taking a little bit of time off. I know you may not want to, you may just be jumping right into work, but getting some days off is going to help you and maybe even your family make that transition much smoother. Mail forwarding is also something to consider here. At this 2-week period, you need to make sure you're getting your mail forwarded to your new address. And I will say, do this a little early. And the reason why is because we need the post office to catch up with your mail and start getting it to them. You'll start seeing the ones that they get sent back, and it will keep you from having to revisit your old house to get new mail sent to you. Something most people don't think about are their prescriptions at this point. So you're 2 weeks out, making sure that you have enough of your medications. If you do have any certain medications, make sure you have plenty on hand. And also you've contacted your pharmacy and moved your primary pharmacy to your new area. So making sure you're transferring all of those. We're almost there. We're 1 week out. We're at the cleanup phase. Hope you're ready. Let's talk about cleaning. You need to get your home cleaned before you move. Do a deep clean. I would just suggest doing this as a bit of goodwill towards the new buyers for your home. It also helps avoid any friction when it comes to their final walkthrough of your property. So doing a deep cleaning and maybe touching up paint in a few areas. Make sure to get those baseboards. My other pro tip is clean your fan blades, as well as your air registers and your air returns. Swap out your filters, get everything up to date for the new buyer. If you have any old filter, if you have any new filters for your refrigerator, this is a good time to change them out for the new owner and letting them know exactly what kind of filters that you're using throughout the house. Now, let's just say you don't have time to clean the house yourself, hire professional cleaners. Now, if you want to save money on professional cleaners, go ahead and get your house majority emptied out, because cleaning an empty house is 10 times easier for a cleaning service than when your junk is everywhere. And also, getting professional cleaners can also help minimize, like I said, that friction for the final walkthrough for the buyer that's purchasing your home. We want to avoid anything that's going to delay your timeline to moving to Auburn. At this phase, you need to be moving quickly. Now, we talked a little bit about go bags earlier, and this is the part where you absolutely need to have your go bag ready to go. Now, make sure you've got all of your toiletries and everything ready. This is 1 week out. You are living pretty minimally at this part. Most stuff is packed away. So in that go bag, I will say just revisit it one more time at this 1 week out phase. Make sure you're not missing anything that you absolutely must have. The last part of this cleanup phase is pack an emergency kit. That means a first aid kit. It could be some important documents that you need to have on you whenever you're purchasing the next home. Make sure you've got all that stuff put away. What we like to do is have like a little moving safe. We have a little safe that we'll put all of our stuff in for moving, and we'll actually put that in our vehicle and help us transfer those documents to the new house. Now we're 1 day out from closing, and it is time for the final sweep. During the final sweep, this is when you should be gathering all those extra keys, garage door openers, get them out of your car. Make sure you've got any key fobs that may go to your neighborhood pool. Make sure you've got any manuals or important documentation, maintenance records. Take all of those items, and I will tell you, put them in one drawer in your kitchen. Just like if you purchased a brand new home, they usually put everything in one drawer. I suggest to you when selling your home, put everything in one drawer that goes to the next buyer. Now, can you take it to closing and give it to them? Yes. But I'm telling you, when it comes to moving in this final sweep timeline, you don't have a whole lot of time. So just make sure you're putting all this stuff in one tight spot. In the final sweep, we should be checking all rooms. Now, when we are checking all rooms, make sure you're checking all of the plugs. Make sure you've left no bases for chargers or anything like that in the wall. Typically, if you have little kids, you may have little plugs that go in there that cap off the plug from kids. So you may want to remove those and take them to the next home as well. Remove any child lock, any of those items that could be left behind. I know it sounds tedious right now, but you should be removing everything from all the rooms. And lastly, on your final sweep, removing all of your trash and recycling. Now, you got to listen to me here. When you're 1 week out and you know that your trash comes on the day before closing, get everything in the trash the day before closing or a couple days before closing. One of the things that really frustrates buyers the most is when they move into a house that has city trash like Auburn does, and their trash cans are overflowing and they're at the street. I will tell you, this is not a good presentation. Try and get most of this stuff out the week before or a couple days before. If not, you can take it to a local place and dispose of it as well. But having trash cans that are not overflowing at the street, I will highly suggest, please don't do that to the person that's buying your home. They usually are a little disgruntled when they get there and they don't have anywhere to put their trash. Welcome to closing day. You have made it. It is time to collect your keys. You're at the closing table. Make sure after you sign all your docs that you have asked the seller across the table for any keys, any fobs, any garage door openers, because those things do get left behind and they're usually a last thought item. Tell them to check their key rings. Do they have any extra keys that go to maybe a storage building out back, an additional locks? Maybe there's a padlock on the crawl space. Always reaching out and making sure you've got all the keys that go with the house. It is also time to celebrate. Now, during this moving process, I will tell you, like I said, try and get your movers to come the day after closing. Go ahead and find a local pizza place. We've got Mellow Mushroom in downtown, which I highly suggest. If you've never had Mellow Mushroom pizza, it is fantastic. There's also several other pizza places here in town, but just grab some local pizza and enjoy your time at your new house. Now, for the security of your house, you can hire a local locksmith. I do suggest getting them to come out and change the tumblers. It gets really expensive when it comes to changing all of the deadbolts and all of the handles out. So you could actually just change the tumblers and it'll save you significantly on your cost. Now, a lot of people do not even change the locks when they move from house to house and keys were left on old keychains. I will suggest, please change your locks. Now that you've closed, you have your closing document. They're also going to mail it to you as well, but you can take that down and go get a new driver's license and also claim your homestead exemption on your property. So reach out to me. We'll give you the address for the courthouse annex. It's behind the mall, and go down there. It's very quick, very easy to do. That's one thing I do love about living in this area. It is so easy to go and file anything you need for your home. And of course, during the moving phase, you're going to meet so many new neighbors. I will say, take a little bit of time, introduce yourself to the neighbors, because I guarantee you they're peeking through their window or standing outside waving at you. Just go ahead and introduce yourself to them, exchange some contact information just for potential emergencies. And man, you're going to love living here in Auburn. The people are fantastic. And lastly, when you move, utilities. Make sure that you've got all of your utilities on, you've transferred them. Now your internet service, I do suggest getting that the day after closing. That way you're not missing that appointment with them. Make sure you've got your utilities to turn on the day of closing, like your water and your power. You typically can get those transferred. Now here in Auburn City, we do single stream recycling and your trash. So your trash, your water, and your sewer are all in the same bill. And you can just go down there, or you can, I believe you can go online to auburnalabama.com and fill out an application there and get everything rocking and rolling. Wow, what a journey. Thank you so much for joining me on this relocation guide. I know it was a little long, but just understand I've got a few general tips here and we will be finished. Number one is just communication. Keep an open line of communication with your agent, with your realtors, with your insurance providers, and anyone else you're coming into contact with, especially if there's people helping you. Keeping that communication open. I usually suggest a group text for this, for any friends, family, and also your real estate agents that are helping you make that transition. Number two is just staying organized. Use a moving checklist, and if you need one, reach out to me. We'll send you our moving checklist to help you make that transition a little easier. And also, by using a checklist, it really helps you mentally make this move a lot smoother. And lastly, take care of yourself. Moving is stressful enough as it is. Take care of yourself. Drink plenty of water. Take some time, take a rest, take care of yourself, because you're gonna love living here in Auburn, and we hope you stay here for a very long time. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this relocation guide. If you're looking to move from out of state to Auburn, Alabama, make sure to reach out to me and my team. We'd love to help you make that transition to Auburn, Alabama, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.